Hare Krishna. Subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon to never miss any updates.
Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. It is not that he himself is transformed to material creations. He expands himself by his different energies as well as by his plenary portions. In a corner of the spiritual sky of Brahma Jyoti, a spiritual cloud sometimes appears, and the covered portion is called the Mahatattva. The Lord then, by his plenary portion as Mahavishnu, lies down in the water of the Mahatattva, and the water is called the causal ocean, Karanajala. While Mahavishnu sleeps within the causal ocean, innumerable universes are generated along with his breathing. These universes are floating and they are scattered all over the causal ocean. They stay only during the breathing period of Mahavishnu. In each and every universal globe, the same Mahavishnu enters again as Garbhodakashaya Vishnu and lies there on the serpent-like Shesha incarnation. From his navel sprouts a lotus stem, and on the lotus, Brahma, the Lord of the universe, is born. Brahma creates all forms of living beings of different shapes in terms of different desires within the universe. He also creates the sun, moon and other demigods. Therefore, the chief engineer of the material creation is the Lord himself, as confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita. 9.10. It is he only who directs the material nature to produce all sorts of moving and non-moving creations. There are two modes of material creation. The creation of the collective universes, as stated above, done by Mahavishnu, and the creation of the single universe. Both are done by the Lord, and thus the universal shape, as we can see, takes place. That's Yudhisthira Bhakti Vedanta. These are the words spoken by Lord Brahma to his son Narada Muni, who has asked questions about the creation. How this creation has taken place, how things are all manifested in this material world, the ingredients of creation and such things. So Brahma has been answering them in a very systematic manner. First of all, Brahma described that the ingredients required for material creation are created by Lord Krishna in the form of his Purusha incarnations. And further, after the creation of these ingredients, material elements, the sense organs, demigods controlling the material elements, the modes of nature, the mind, intelligence, all these things are assembled. This is what is being mentioned in this verse here. Yada sambhatya chanyonyam. Thus, after when all these became assembled, how they became assembled? Here is a very important statement being made. Bhagavat Shakti Choditaha. They have been assembled by the force of the energy of Supreme Lord. Lord Krishna is behind the total creation aspects, every aspect of the creation. Lord is there. Prabhupada is explaining how Lord is the chief engineer. He is the chief engineer of the material creation. He knows every aspect, every nook and corner of how the whole creation has been manifested and why this creation is done. So Prabhupada is telling here that it is he only who directs the material nature to produce all sorts of moving and non-moving things. So this subject matter of creation and the creative principles functioning in the material phenomena is a very big mystery. Even the great scientists and great philosophers, they are not able to find out how this creation has happened. In our scientific books, or rather in our schools, colleges, we know some theories being proposed by the scientists. This some Big Bang theory. there was a chunk and it got exploded. That's how this creation has come about. Right? This all seems to be very not so appealing and not so reasonable way of explanation of the creation. Right? There was a chunk and it exploded. So there are many questions. Where this chunk came about, why it got exploded, who exploded it. So many questions come about. So in that way, the explanation of the creation itself is not a proper one. In one of the purports Prabhupada comments that the atheists present their own version of the creation. They don't accept the theory of creation as presented in the Bhagavata and Bhagavad Gita. The atheists, about atheists, Krishna very nicely explains in Bhagavad Gita. They, first of all, don't have any good theory to explain the creation aspects, and they defy the aspect of creation which Krishna has brought about in this particular world. So in one of the verses of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna mentions about this particular nature of these atheists. They say, asatyam apratishtham te jagadahur anishwaram aparaspara sambhutam timanyat kama hetukam. Asatyam, they say this world is asatya, it is unreal. It is apratishtham, it has no foundation, and there is no God in control. Everything is happening automatically. See the way the atheists present this whole theory of their non-existence of God and how things are all going on. They say it is all produced of sex desire, kama hetukam, aparaspara sambhutam. Just out of lust, things are going on. That's the only reason this whole material world is. So they don't have any sound explanation of the creation. First of all, they don't believe in the Creator, but they cannot also give any good theory for the creation. This is their stand. Right? So one thing is very, very clear, even for an ordinary common man, that things, the ingredients, what you see in the material world, they don't have any power to create. Right? Very classic example is given. A woman, she cannot produce a child without connection with a man. Right? So the Purusha impregnates and the Prakriti delivers. This is the principle, this is the law which Krishna has made. So this principle is followed from the beginning of the creation. Purusha impregnates, Prakriti delivers. The example given in the Vedic literatures, it's like on the neck of the goat, there are some fleshy bags. They look like breastly nipples. Oh, you can milk from there. But you cannot expect milk from that. Right? Similarly, the atheist presentation of the theory of creation is like, it's all automatically, it has come about, it has created, there was a chunk, it exploded, and all these manifestations have come about, there's evolution, and so many theories they put forward. All speculative understandings. There's no basis for their explanation. So like this, like how from the neck of the goat, the nipples which looks like they are breastly nipples, you cannot milk them. Similarly, you cannot expect any creative power from the material ingredients. Right? So how this creation happened is what this chapter is very, in a very vivid manner, it is explaining to us. This explanation we are supposed to take it as it is, and it is a very appealing explanation, in fact. Like how Prabhupada is telling in the purport of the verse of Bhagavad Gita, where the atheists say the world is unreal, there is no foundation, there is no creator, it's all out of sex desires, these things have come about. There is no effect, no cause, no controller, no purpose. This is what they say. Right? They think that this world is a chance creation. They don't know that behind this creation there is a reason, there is a plan which the Creator has, a certain purpose with which this Creator has. Right? They say that they have the theory that the world has come about in its own way. There is no reason to believe that there is a God behind it. It's like this, their whole understanding goes on, which is actually very illogical and unreasonable. Whereas the way Bhagavatam explains us, Bhagavad Gita explains us in such a wonderful manner with regard to how the creation has happened, why this creation has happened. In a very detailed manner, the explanation is given. Prabhupada even goes on to say that the way Lord has created, you can see perfect planning of the Lord. Just like here, we see the chief engineer of the total material creation. So a chief engineer doesn't work haphazardly or erroneously or just like that. Just goes to the site and you do this, you do that. No. First of all, a proper plan is made with every aspect, every detail. A perfect planning is made. Then the execution starts. Right? So, similarly, we can see how systematically this whole creation has come about. This very detailed description about the material world, how it is created at certain intervals and again it is destroyed in the Bhagavad Gita. Right? It is, it becomes manifested and it becomes again withdrawn within the energies of within the body of the Lord. This explanation is given in the Bhagavad Gita. So this creation, maintenance and annihilation is a continuous cyclic process. That's what Brahma also mentioned in one of the verses in this chapter. So having said that, this creation, destruction and all these things is happening by the supreme will of Krishna. He wills, then things become manifest, and he again wills, then things become unmanifest. This is how the world is running. And why Krishna is doing all these things is a question mark. This Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam explains that because the conditioned souls are eternally conditioned, they are called Nitya-baddha. Nitya-baddha conditioned souls. They are the sense of ahankara, in sense of identifying themselves that I am this matter, I am part of this world, I am the master. This sense is dictating them to enjoy their senses. Ahankara is dictating them for sense enjoyment. But actually speaking, the living entity's position is to employ their senses in the service of the Lord. Right? So, Jivera Swarupa Nitya Krishna Dasa, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, the living entity's Swarupa, or the constitution, is to engage their senses in service of Krishna. But when they don't want to do this, they want to independently enjoy their senses. False ego manifests. And this dictates that I want to have sense enjoyment independent of Krishna. Actually, Lord is the only enjoyer. Everybody is supposed to participate in that enjoyment, and that way they get their pleasure. But the living entities, taking the position of enjoyer, Purusha, forgetful of their real position or the constitutional position. They have strong aspirations to enjoy. If you see in the material world, everybody wants to be the master, everybody wants to be the Lord. Everybody wants to maximize their sense gratification. Right? So this material world in that way is a chance given to the conditioned souls to enjoy matter And side by side, the Lord has given a chance to understand their real position also. It's a wonderful, way of arranging things. The living entity's position is to render service to Krishna, but the false sense of lording over here has created a different type of situation. Prabhupada explains this in the Bhagavad Gita, one of the verses. Ichha dvesha samuthena dvandva mohena bharata. Right? When the living entity desires that I want to enjoy independently, ichha, and it dvesha means it starts, it starts developing enviousness towards Krishna's position. Ichha dvesha samuthena dvandva mohena bharata. It immediately comes under the influence of dvandva, the duality of this material world. This is the explanation which Krishna gives in the Bhagavad Gita. Very interesting explanation. Which verse?
7th chapter.
Number?
Chapter 7, 20.
To get it immediately. Yeah, 27. So, Ichha dvesha samuthena dvandva mohena bharata sarva bhutani samoham sarge yanti parantapa. So, O Arjuna, O conqueror of the foe, all living entities are born in delusion, overcome by dualities of desire and hate. Prabhupada very nicely explains the verse. The real constitutional position of the living entity is that of subordination to the Supreme Lord. Right? It is pure knowledge. But when one is deluded into separation from the pure knowledge, he becomes controlled by illusory energy and cannot understand the Supreme Lord. Krishna bhuliya jiva bhogavancha kare. It's a very simple language. Acharyas explain us. When you want to forget Krishna and want to enjoy the material world independently, nikatastha maya kare japati yadari. So Prabhupada explains, this illusory energy, this bewilderment is manifested as duality of desire and hate. Due to this desire and hate, the ignorant person wants to become one with the Lord and envies Krishna as Supreme Lord. This is our position right now. So Krishna has given an opportunity as a chance in this material world for us to experience this type of a bewilderment. And also side by side, Krishna is giving us an opportunity for us to rectify this mentality, bewildered mentality that you again become reinstated. It is out of Lord's great compassion that He is doing this. So when this happens, then Lord has to create. Lord has created the material world. So this opportunity is given for the conditioned souls to go back to spiritual world also. So the fortunate living entities who catch this truth or the principle, they surrender unto Vasudeva after many births. As Krishna says, Bahunam Janmanam Ante Jnanvan Mam Prapadyate Vasudeva Sarvamiti. So fortunate living entities, they somehow understand the mystery by the mercy of Guru Krishna, and they surrender to Krishna and enter the kingdom of God. So whereas those unfortunate living entities, Prabhupada says, those who cannot catch the constitutional truth, they are again and again merged into the Mahat Tattva. So what is this Mahat Tattva is what Prabhupada is explaining, and further what happens is Prabhupada explaining in this today's purport very nicely. So this material world is a chance or opportunity given for the conditioned souls to rectify their mentality of false enjoyment. Sooner they come to their original senses or proper sense, better for them. So this material world that way is a great opportunity. Otherwise, this world will go on, the creation will go on. So what happens is that the living entities don't want to come out of the material world. They merge into the Mahat Tattva. This Mahat Tattva is the total energy of the Lord, wherein all the ingredients of creation are available. It's like a stock, Prabhupada says, it's a stock. Store, we have to store all the items there. That Mahatattva is the store of all the ingredients required for creation, including the living entities in there. In case it is the time of annihilation, the living entities the activities are suspended and they just stay there in that energy. So Prabhupada says here that the Lord is expanding himself by his different energies. So one more theory Prabhupada is defending, one more principle which one more class of transcendentalists called Mayavadis. They say when the creation happens, Lord transforms. Right? This is not the proper theory. In fact, Lord expands by his innumerable energies. Right? See, Lord becomes transformed and is no more having any identity. That's what the Mayavadis say. Whereas the Vaishnava philosophy says, Lord has innumerable energies. Even though he expands into many other, he expands energies, his position remains intact. Om Purnamada Purnat Purnamada. Innumerable expansions coming out, but Lord's position remains intact. He remains perfect and complete. So he has so many energies, so many expansions that he manifests this material world in a very systematic manner. So how this creation happens is what Prabhupada is explaining in a very nice way in this one paragraph. Actually, everything is Lord's creation. Spiritual world, spiritual sky. Right? In the spiritual sky, in a corner of a spiritual sky, there is a spiritual cloud which sometimes appears, and the covered portion is called the Mahatattva. Just like you see in a vast sky, in our experience also. The clouds. So when there is a requirement for creation of the material world, Lord by His will, He creates one corner of the material, one corner of this whole creation, His whole creation. There is a spiritual cloud, which is known as Mahatattva. And Lord, by His expansion, again Krishna expands in many forms. And one of there are three expansions called Purusha incarnations, Purusha avataras, who are responsible for the material creation. The first of them is called Karanodakashayi Vishnu. So when this Mahatattva is the corner of the spiritual sky, the spiritual cloud is lying there, it is containing all the ingredients of material manifestations, including the conditioned souls. Then the Mahavishnu, he lies down there, Prabhupada says. The Lord then by his plenary portion as Mahavishnu lies down in the water of Mahatattva. Right? And that water is called the Karana Jala, or the causal ocean. Karana means from there, all the actual creation starts. Right? So this Mahavishnu lying there on the Karana Jala, he is breathing. Actually, he is in Yoga Nidra. Mahavishnu sleeps within the causal ocean. And he is breathing, and innumerable universes are generated along with his breathing. This is the explanation. And these universes, which are all generated from his breathing, as he is exhaling, a lot of universes coming out of his skin's pores. And these universes are floating and they are scattered all over the causal ocean. You would have seen this painting. They stay only during the breathing period of Mahavishnu. As soon as Mahavishnu inhales, all his universe again go back into this. It's called, what is exhaling is called creation, is inhaling is called annihilation. The time between exhalation and inhalation is what it is maintained. For Mahavishnu, that is it's how it happens. Whereas for us, this looks to be so huge number of years. Right? So again, in each and every universal globe, again the Mahavishnu expands as Garbhodakashayi Vishnu, one more Vishnu. He lies down on the serpent-like Shesha incarnation. Every universe, there is again Lord enters as Garbhodakashayi Vishnu, and he is lying there on Ananta. From his navel of Garbhodakashaya Vishnu, a lotus stem sprouts. And from the lotus stem, Brahma, the Lord of the universe, is created. And this lotus stem is what is the 14 planetary systems, which we'll understand in the next verses. All the planetary systems are there in this lotus stem. And from Brahma, who is created on the top of the lotus, he starts creating other living beings. Secondary manifestation is what is mentioned here. Sadasattavam. The primary, secondary cause of creation starts. The different living entities already there. Brahma gives, he assigns different bodies for them. Different shapes, different forms is given to them. In that way, other aspects start becoming manifested. So this is the short description of how creation happens. In fact, Brahma, in his prayers known as Brahma Samhita, he also mentions briefly about how things are how creation has happened. We are familiar with this verse. Yakarananava jale bhayatisma yoge nidram ananda jagadanda sarvabhupaha adhara shakti avalambya param samurtim govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. Yakarananava, right? Same thing. Karana jala. Karananava jale bhayatisma yoga. So this Lord, he is reposing in the causal ocean. Nidram ananda jagadanda sarvabhupaha. He is Karananava jale bhayatisma yoga nidram. He is in mystic sleep, mystic slumber it is called. And from his Romakupaha means the pores of this skin pores of his of the body of hairs where it comes out. From there, innumerable universes, Ananta Jagadanda, like innumerable universes emanate, and all these universes are all floating in the causal ocean. One more verse which Brahma offers prayers. Then, Yasya nishchita kala mathavalambya jivanti loma vilaja jagadanda natha Vishnu mahazeh yasya kala vishesho govindamadi purusham tamaham bhaja. Right? So like this, from the skin pores of Mahavishnu, innumerable universes are created. They remain alive only during the duration of this, their living is only between one exhalation, between two exhalations is what, one inhalation, one exhalation, that time is what the period of their life is. So very nicely it is mentioned in Yasveshka Nishvasita. Nishvasita means the breath time. Nishvasita Kalam. Athavalambya. They just remained that way. Jivanti. And then again they became annihilated. Again they become manifested. This is how the whole creation is happening. And again all this is happening because the living entities desired that they want to enjoy this material world in this way. Right? So like this, very detailed description of creation is given, and very logical and very scientific description is given. We cannot simply accept some illogical understanding of there is no reason, there is no cause. Because this subject matter of creation is such a subject matter which each and every human being would like to know how it has come about, how it has manifested, this world is manifested. Right? So when you understand the details of creation as described in Bhagavatam, you can understand how, so complicated in such a wonderful way creation has come about, and for a reason how Krishna has created everything. Right? Anything, whatever we have as a body, the different ingredients, different facilities, faculties, what we have in the body is for a reason. And they had to be used for a particular reason. If you don't use it the right way for what it is created for, it is misuse. Like with the human body, every aspect of the human body's creation is meant for devotion to Krishna. So more and more this is realized with the conditioned souls and they engage themselves in service of Krishna, sooner their liberation is possible. Otherwise they become more and more entangled and human body comes once in a while. Again, when we get the human body, no guarantee. At this life, if you behave like other living entities, other animals, next life you will get an animal body. Again, you will miss the chance. Right? Again, you will go through evolutionary cycle. Again, so many life forms you have to take. Again, you get human form. Again, you miss the chance. Like this, no life is going on. But sooner, the living entity in the human form, he realizes that this is a wonderful opportunity. That's why it is called Durlabham Manushyam Janma. Now, very rarely we get this human form wherein we have advanced intelligence, developed consciousness. We realize that we have got this opportunity to understand these things. Then we become liberated. In fact, one of the verses of the Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada mentions, even understanding that there are three Vishnus like this, it is a mention of from the Narada Pancharatra, Prabhupada explains. An understanding that there are three Vishnus. Vishnus tu trini rupani purushakyani atovidahu. One Vishnu is called Karanavadakashayi Vishnu, who creates the total material energy, called Mahatattva. Second Vishnu is called Garbhodakashayi Vishnu, who enters into each of the universe, who creates diversities in each of them. And there is one more Vishnu known as Kshirodakashayi Vishnu, who is present as super soul in everything, even an atom. He is present as Paramatma, even within the atom. Andantarastha Paramanu Jivantarastham. So just to know and understand that there are three Vishnus like this, and the whole material manifestation is being managed and controlled by these three Vishnus, the Sattva Tantra mentions, Prabhupada says, that anyone who knows these three Vishnus can be liberated from material entanglement. Tani jnatva vimuchyate. See, even knowing that there are three Vishnus is the cause of liberation. And what to speak of living entities who know and start engaging themselves in devotion to Krishna. That's the point which Bhagavad Gita is explaining. So,
Which verse?
7.4. Bhuviraha Punarlovayu. So, the whole point is the conception of life, which we were discussing in the previous verse, should be changed. Conception of life is that we are in a different conception of life, thinking that this world is all meant for my enjoyment and this world doesn't have any creator, such type of understandings. Whereas the conception of life changes to, no, this world is for a purpose, I am created for a purpose, this is what the purpose is, devotion to Krishna. In this way, the whole conception of life changes. From material conception, bodily conception of life, it has to change to spiritual conception of life. Right? The whole consciousness transformation, the polluted consciousness has to be purified. It is called change of conception of life. Right? So these explanations are all leading us to that particular journey of our spiritual life.
Like you said, in Karna Ocean, from the force of Mahavishnu, so many universes are coming out.
Yeah.
In each universe, like Lord Vishnu becomes as a Garbhodakashayi Vishnu.
That's
So
what.
Garbhodakashayi is a half ocean, half filled.
Correct.
Entire universe, the inside half is that ocean only.
No, what Prabhupada says in one of the lectures, as soon as Garbhodakashayi enters, through his perspiration, he fills the universe half with his perspiration.
Yes, so that is half filled with
It's
his,
half.
that water.
Yes, it's Garbhodakashayi.
And then from the navel, this navel Lord Brahma comes out.
Comes out, yes.
So entire 14 planetary system is within that stem of that lotus.
Yes, it's the explanation.
So rest of the universe, because this is just a minor area or space you can say, rest of the universe is vacant.
Vacant in the sky.
Vacant sky.
Yes.
So creation is minuscule part of only the entire universe.
For us it may look like, you see the system is so huge in one sense. For us.
So that lotus system inside all the 14 planetary system. But are we having only 14 planetary systems? So what about the billions of galaxies and universes which we see right now? There are not 14
Everything is inside this.
Inside that.
All the billions of
One planetary system may have billions of
planets.
planets. Planetary system it is. One plane can have billions of planets.
Bhuloka, Bhuvarloka,
Yes,
Swarloka. It's not only one planet.
Planet
It's a planetary system.
I'm using the word planetary system.
Yeah.
So rest of the, you can say, pretty much infinite space or inside the universe. They say when you exit the universe, you exit all the 7 layers.
Yes.
And then you come out.
Yes.
But then it is saying first you have to exit the stem.
No. Those layers are part of stem.
Now there is a universe,
Ah,
half of that is filled with water,
ah,
and the Lord Prabhu, that side Vishnu is lying down.
ah.
From that Ashtam has come out, on that top Brahma is there. In that, within that all the 40 planetary systems.
Physical, we cannot say physical.
Physical,
That
how do
means-
they understand? Then there's seven
Everything, trillions of universes, all layers we are talking
You have to
about.
connect these two layers.
Part
One is
of stem.
One is within lotus.
What do you say, bro?
Yeah, see, the whole conception of how things are situated is not so easy to understand.
Yes.
The fifth canto of Bhagavatam explains some details it gives, but the conceiving them and properly, having a proper understanding is not that easy. Different dimension it
Up to
is.
this point, very clear.
Yeah.
But then
You should not make it so simple. That is like one ball inside one ball, lotus stem. So much space is there. That is our very simple, simplistic understanding. The way the way the dimensionally how things are situated is again a very complex phenomenon.
there are two layers. One is within the stem, one
Yeah.
is
What is that?
universal.
So I have
layer.
this question from many years actually.
I have not completed it. One minute. So next is this. I have for many years too.
Yeah.
The next is Chandrodaya, right?
Uh-huh.
The representation in the heart of everybody
Yes.
is Paramatma.
Yes.
They say in our scriptures that there is a Chir Sagar,
Yes.
milk ocean,
Yes.
where he lies down.
Yes.
The Chiro, so where is that one?
That's the ocean where Brahma goes, and Prabhupada explains that is the Shirodakashaya Vishnu is the source of incarnations.
Yeah. So where
All the incarnations. That is
a scheme of
in the universe only. It is Shvetadvipa
Is the
or
pole star?
Pole Star. Yes. Explanation is there. Pole Star is one place in the universe. Within the universe, there is one place.
Dhruta.
That is Vaikuntha of material world.
That is where he lies down.
Yes.
That is milk ocean.
That's where Brahma went and requested on the shore to incarnate. And he assured, no, I'm going to come. Krishna is going to come. Otherwise, other incarnations are all coming from there. So,
So every universe has a polar star inside that Lord is there in the form of.
at least our universe is a pole star. At least should we can
Okay.
show this.
No, this is not related to this, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he pays obeisance in Alalnath, and the stone deforms
Yes.
out of the ecstasy of Mahaprabhu. There is another similar instance where Ahalya, the Lord Ram touches the stone and she once again becomes a woman. She takes up the body of the stone.
Yes.
So and we also hear that the Radharani's place, the palace, he's Brahma only, the head of Brahma. Radharani's palace in Vrindavan. So that Parvata is Lord Brahma only. He wanted to incarnate. So we hear the stories, and my question is, does every stone have a soul? Because Krishna also says in Bhagavad Gita, Jiva Sarvagata. Everywhere there are Jivas.
Every atom there is soul. There is the Paramatma is there.
Paramatma is there, that's something else, dear Prabhu. But I'm speaking of soul particularly. So all the stones have soul, or some might have, some might
Prabhupada
not.
says, one explanation, that mountains are living entities.
Now mountains I understand. But is every mountain definitely a living entity? Is every stone a living entity? That I like.
See, it's all, like how Krishna wants to manifest in different.
But Prabhu, general understanding wise, it's not. Because there are two kinds. Krishna himself says, I created Aparanyamida Stvanyan Prakriti Vidhimepam Jeev Bhutama. There is one is living entity, one is matter. That way a stone.
Moving, non-moving.
Yeah, moving, non-moving. And
But in every atom, Krishna is there as Paramatma.
Krishna is there, but soul is not there. Matter.
And also Prabhupada says that Krishna can turn matter into spirit and spirit into matter.
Yeah,
You
like how.
say, actually, Prabhu, they say somewhere comes in some purport in the Ritamrita that it's like soul. This stone is there. The soul in its dormant form. Like it's like a person who goes into coma or he is having some anesthesia. So actually, it's totally dormant form, more dormant than that. An example of that. In that dormant form, the soul is there because the time has not yet come for that soul to evolve and
have some level of consciousness.
show desire. So that consciousness is like a child in the womb. Till 7th month, on 7 months, after 7 months, it feels pain, but it does not feel pain. That is not being given. then it starts coming out.
The soul is there, but there is no symptoms of life.
Yes, yes, that consciousness is not at all developed, almost zero developed. So in that way, he explains it is there.
So your question of how whether every stone is
No, that is my question.
a soul, is having a soul, I'm not, I don't have any answer for that right
Yes,
now.
no, actually it is told that it is there.
Every stone.
Yes, but it is totally dormant. So we call it the dormant state, just like our body, as Prabhupada was telling, two prakritis. Even in our own body also we are having that para prakriti spirit soul, and apara prakriti body is there. Similarly, everything is combination of para and apara. So but in that stone,
Everything is a combination, material world.
it is not evolved at all. Consciousness is not at all evolved. It is just waiting.
Punishment.
It is just waiting for the time to fructify.
Maybe I have not come across such an explanation. Where did you read this?
I will just see it once and.
Now what Madhurata has told, Krishna will transform its matter to spirit, spirit to matter. That Krishna has that omnipotency. It's like the deity form. It's a stone or a wood. It's a dead matter in one sense. But Krishna enters and he resides in that as Archa Vigraha. That explanation is a sound explanation. Whereas every stone is having a soul, is something.
Individual soul is asking, and see, the super soul is definitely there. But
Again, stone means what is the size, what is the dimension? So many
Some
questions
living
come.
entity, like soul, may reside into a stone. That much is acceptable. But
some-
not that every stone is this. That
Yeah. Because yesterday you told the explanation of Alya, who became a stone, right?
That is
One lump of a stone, one size of a stone. So she was there, and Rama came and touched, and she again got the body. So what is the size of the stone? What big, small stone or big stone or which stone? It has a specific form, no?
Your feet.
Does it come under 84 lakh species of life?
Yeah, that's my question.
That's the question. Does it come fit under 84 lakh species of life? Stone? No.
It's not living.
No, just like these mountains,
It doesn't come.
Golan, Himalaya.
They are all one type of human personality.
Rivers are personality.
Yes.
Because
Even a single stone is part of Lord's universal.
They are humans only in different forms. Right? They are evolved humans.
Prabhu, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu,
Uh,
that stone deformed in that place,
Yeah.
not everywhere.
Deformed. See, again, that deformation is because it took a. Melted, no? It melted. It melted. No?
Probably there's a living entity inside and see, might be my concoction, but I see we are here to contemplate and such things.
Okay, understood. So basically that stone got melted, just like iron gets melted. Then you can start giving explanation, oh, iron also is having soul. Iron ore. So many explanations in that way.
Imagine
Because of the heat
Radha
of Lord Chaitanya.
Huh?
Because of the heat of his body. Just like in Jagannath Puri also, no? His finger impressions are there.
Yeah.
Because of the heat of
Even Radha Damodar temple, Lord Krishna's footprints are there.
Footprints are there.
So it's
Yeah, many pastime places in Vrindavan
On
only.
the stone.
Krishna's footprints are there.
So many places.
One thing is, Krishna's omnipotence. He want to leave some impressions for us. Also there. But explanation of whether stone is having a soul is something we have to get into details. Right? So get the reference. Which stone, what stone? Because for us, 84 lakh species is what we understand the material.
The stone doesn't come true.
Doesn't come there now.
No, that doesn't.
At least my understanding doesn't come. Jalaja Navarakshani.
Saram Darshanam Shri.
That's what it is now. Where does stone fit into there?
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Ahilya's case was special.
Huh?
Ahilya was cursed by her
No, the different
husband.
species.
She got petrified and the entire form became a stone.
Yes, yes. Maybe you can say a small mound.
That form remained just stone form. So later when Lord touched it, she got the form.
Like this, Krishna's way of.
That you can say soul was there inside.
Yes.
In that case you can say.
So different ways Krishna manifests, wonderful ways. Okay, we'll stop here. Tantra Srimad Bhagavatam.